Let's see. Tell me when I need to mute my mic.
Yeah, if you would go ahead.
I let's see. Tell me when I need to mute my mic.
Yeah, if you Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Weekend Big Show, powered by Law Dog Sports. I am Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog, joined by my partner, Jeremy Schroeder, the ruler of the airways. And Jeremy Schroeder, I tell you, you and your coworkers going to have to really rain rule down on the airways this upcoming weekend or the next week, as it's holiday weekend is upon us. It's you can smell it in the air. There's cranberry and sweet potato yams and just all kinds of good stuff that are getting ready to be partaken of. But as we were talking off the air, from my patrol days with the Oklahoma City Police Department, the worst possible day to work of any within the calendar year was what I called Thanksgiving Eve. And it was Wednesday night, and people knew they needed to go get loaded so that they could deal with their family the next day. And it was just, and I can only imagine what it's like now for those young officers out working patrol on the overnights and evening shift in Oklahoma City now, because now you got politics to talk about as well. So it's just, it's just a crazy time. But how have you been?
Man, I've been great. And just to let you know, I will not be participating in the Thanksgiving festivities in the travel world this year. I'll be at home,
Yeah.
just happy, happy, happy.
We might have to go daily next week.
Right?
So, well, and you are obviously a veteran and a vet of you're a veteran of the process. And man, I tell you, I gotta say, our super fan Connor Carr's got me a little worried. He seems to really be fighting, going into work in location pretty hard. So worried about that kid.
Connor hasn't put pants on in 2.5 years.
Do duck bibs count? I don't know. Anyways, but anyway, there's so much going on, Jeremy, and it's a big weekend there where you are in Normantown as the Crimson Tide of the University of Alabama make their first trip to Norman since 2002. And man, if we had a phone line, I would probably take some calls and say, "Who can you name who the coach was in '02 for Bama when they rolled into Norman?" And
Was it Mike DeBose?
no,
No,
it was Dennis Franchione.
it was Francione.
It was Franchione. It was his
And it
first
was
season.
and it wasn't even his most crushing loss in that stadium.
Oh no. It was and I remember that game. I was there, and I remember in '02. It was, I think that wasn't that the the running back who was real talented. Ronaldo Works. He had a big screen pass, I think, or something.
They ran shovel pass all the
Shovel
way down
pass.
the field on it.
Yeah, he was gone, and Bama was not the Bama that we know now, but Franchione had taken over, I think, for DeBose, and then just if I remember correctly, in that game in 2002, I think they ran a fake punt, they ran a fake field goal. I think they tried an onside. I mean, there was all kinds of gadgetry that he was trying to do to sneak out of Norman with a win, and OU didn't allow him to do that.
That's right. Led by the great, underrated Nate Hibble.
Yeah,
And don't forget Eric Bassey picking up that fumble and taking it to the house to make it look a little better than that 3-point win should have looked.
Yeah, it was tight. And Franchione, I don't know. Explain to me the word mercurial. I try to understand it. I usually have pretty good vocabulary, but
the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, man.
He was a guy who you just didn't know what he was gonna do next. I mean,
yeah,
he basically gets New Mexico respectable,
Texas Christian,
then goes to TCU, basically set the table for Gary Patterson, I think. And then
definitely.
and then goes to Bama. It's Bama. I mean, and you're not
Yeah.
following Gene Stallings.
No. And
You're
Gene Stallings, as far as legend goes, is a pretty that's a manageable legend to follow,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. If you're going to follow someone and you've got the system and process in place, go ahead. But still, Stallings had won a natty and he was a Bama favorite. But Mike DeBose was they were ready for change, and so
Sure.
the Bama faithful see what Francione had done with TCU and New Mexico. Is like okay, and what he had to have been there one season because
Was DeBose the no? Man, so it was Mike Price
he
that
was
was hired
after
after Francione left.
for a
That would have been
for a
the
month.
'04 season. Because
Oh
'03
three.
'03 was a Price team, but Mike Price didn't coach that team because he had already accepted the Alabama job. Is that right? Because they played
David
Washington.
Shula or Mike, which Shula was it that was there?
David Shula.
David Shula coached that 0-3 game where Brandon Jones hit the post route for the TD.
Okay, so okay. So Oklahoma played Washington State in
In
the
0-2.
Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
In
the
the
0-2 season.
right, in the Rose Bowl. So then, okay, so all right. So Francione
Wait.
no.
Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
0-2 is the Big 12 championship in Houston at
Yes.
Reliance Stadium. I went to that. Me and my
Was
wife
it
went
the
to that.
Houston Fiasco, as the locals call it around
That
here?
was the rotund and the big nose kid with their debacle after the post game. But anyways, yes, Rose Bowl win over Washington State, and then
Yes.
Price takes the job
In
in the
Bama.
offseason.
Yes.
Gets
Oh,
found out to be at a Tuscaloosa or a Mobile strip bar.
House of ill repute.
Pictures get out of it, which back in the how did they pull that off in 0-2? Was it E-Bombs World that they went viral?
It might have been E-Bombs World, actually.
So then they pull the plug on him, and then they brought in Shula on a on a whim. No, says Dennis Francione, TCU, New Mexico 92-97. He was at Southwest Texas State 90-91, which I think is now Texas State.
Yes.
And then TCU 98-2000, 01, 02 Alabama. So I
Was
guess
he the coach at TCU when Tomlinson was there?
he would have been, yeah, because wasn't it 2000 that Tomlinson finished third in the Heisman?
Yeah, and he was probably the best player in college football.
By far, by far.
Geez.
But Breeze was in there too. He ended up pretty salty.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the 01 season, Francione was at Bama also. So
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, that was obviously, but he rolls into Norman in 02 and just, like I said, through the kitchen sink into the playbook.
Yeah.
And it was a fun game. I mean, and that was an OU team that they were still, really solid on defense.
They were searching on offense.
Searching on offense. Hibble just did not have the mobility or the.
I mean, he was a good player, but he wasn't the guy that was going to just take the reins and lead you to big time victory.
No. And one thing I'll say, and we'll get into more of this as we go, but one thing about like that, and this was kind of my complaint about Landry Jones as opposed to Bradford. Bradford in 07, 08, and Landry Jones in 09 through what, 2011 or 12?
2019.
Yeah. Landry was going to complete passes, but he generally wasn't going to be that guy who got guys the ball where they just, I mean, and there were plays made. I'm not trying to say
his
that.
Sophomore year, he was the only year he threw under 10 interceptions, and he regressed.
Yeah.
And I got to think that was when Heupel was there.
Yeah, probably so. But like with Hibble and Jason White, when he was in the game, you just kind of knew he was going to be finding guys for big, as I hear 50 times a weekend on game day, explosive plays.
Oh, yeah. Get the ball to guys in space.
Hibble was going to hit Mark Clayton on a 9-yard cut, and Clayton would be tackled right there. He'd have to stop. Hibble just did not have quite that accuracy, but he was a good quarterback. He won a Big 12 championship.
And you know what?
The BCS Bowl.
but the same pieces around him. Jason White won a Heisman Trophy, was a Heisman
Yeah,
finalist 3 times, took a team to a national title game,
to two.
got absolutely shellacked, but
Well,
he did it.
and it's funny we bring this up because I was thinking about this, and we will get to previewing the OU Bama game
Well,
coming.
I mean that does have a Saban Alabama angle to it
Exactly.
because
So thank
Saban
you
was
for that
coaching
connection.
LSU. Yes.
In 03, Jeremy, they play LSU in the Sugar Bowl, which LSU had a string of national title games, in the Sugar Bowl.
Sure.
And they've gone final at the Pioneer Event Center. SWOSU Bulldogs win 65-57 in men's basketball over the UCO Broncos.
Bronchos.
Let's go Broncho.
Bronchos.
Don't get me started since Weatherford lost to Bethany last Friday.
And I got a question real quick. That
Yo.
new bumper music, that new intro music was nice.
Yeah, Sipping on Shine. It's one that I used to use for KSEY, and we'll see
Okay.
if it passes the trademark test.
We need to get a hold of the boys from Oklahoma Blood, see if we can borrow a little bumper music.
Yeah, they could. If they could probably do us something.
Yeah.
Make it open, and if it's nothing they've released, then we can definitely get it on there. But no, Sipping on Shine is one that I used to use on the Seymour Panther pregame back when I used to produce it, and I would interlace some football tackling sound effects in the middle of it.
Football.
So, football. But no, Bronchos. I sick of Bronchos, but the other night, and I think my color commentary partner caught it, but he said something about the Broncos with a CH, and I said, "Let's go raise and rope Broncos." So he did get the reference. So anyways, but that LSU game, I was thinking the other day, Jeremy, it's always what if, and it's been what if since the year 2000.
Yeah.
But
too many of them.
That game, the way that team kind of folded late, and I think Barry Trammell said that it was the Baylor game that kind of gave teams the blueprint on how to affect, because OU blew out Baylor that game, but they sacked Jason White like 6 times, something like that, and they couldn't run the ball. But it gave the blueprint. But, looking back, if that team doesn't puke down their leg against K-State, and if they go and just win that Sugar Bowl team, we could be talking about that team in the annals of some of these other teams that we talk about.
In the same breath with the 01 Hurricanes.
They
scored 60 points like every game that season.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
I hate to throw that out there.
Look at the guys drafted on that
that's
team.
What I was going to say.
3 of the first 4 picks?
Award winners, definitely.
Yeah.
Because Jason White wins the Heisman. Derek Strait wins the
Thorpe.
And I think
he won the Nagurski too.
I think, and Lehman won the Butkus, I think.
Yep.
So big time squad. Those players didn't necessarily pan out in the NFL, but they were just outstandingly recognized.
Jermaine Gresham, Gerald McCoy.
Gresham was not on that.
He wasn't. He was on the next team.
Okay. We had Jamal Brown.
Brown.
Well, Lance Donnelly, who I've interviewed on here before, was on that team.
He was a dang good tight end.
Yeah, he was a good one. Kewan Jones. It was, probably the thing was, it was the year before Adrian Peterson steps on campus, and had they had him in that season, we're probably singing a different song.
And all this was Damon Parker's fault. If he doesn't leave to go undrafted,
Quentin Griffin
doesn't burn a red shirt.
Shirts, 99.
And you got Quentin Griffin against LSU, them trying to find him in arms.
Yep. Oh, so it was just one of those things. But that's something one of those things that when I think I'm going to get to sleep early one night, I sit there and think about
the brain just turns on, and there it is.
03 what if. Looks like, okay, so here we go. Mike DeBose, 97 to 2000.
Okay.
He was 47 and 24. Well, let's see here. Oh, sorry. No. He was 24 and 23.
Okay.
Then Francione takes over in 01. He goes 17 and 8. Then Mike Price, who has no record. Then Mike Shula, 03 to 06. Do you know who the interim was before Saban?
Oh my goodness. Um,
He was the subject of a Mike Steely parody
Mike Steely.
related to OSU.
I don't know.
Joe Kynes.
Joe Kynes.
Steely did a parody about what was it? What was the AD's name? Terry Don.
Terry Don Phillips.
Yeah. But you promised me, Terry Don. when they hired Bob Simmons and
Okay.
then hired Joe Kynes. But you promised me, Terry Don.
Oh my gosh.
So Joe Kynes, I guess, must have coached the bowl game after they released
Okay.
Mike Shula. He has a 0-1 record. So,
Oh.
but a lot of history in the last 20 years, Jeremy, the last 20, 25. We'll go back to 25. Kalen DeBoer takes over for Nick Saban, and like we said, you never want to follow the legend, but I mean they've got some scrap in them. They're not the downtrodden Bama that I think people thought they were going to be at times. They're just like every other college football team, as we see by these polls.
Sure.
They're just bipolar.
Yeah. I mean, and part of that has to do with the lack of down the roster depth. Thanks to the transfer portal.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jalen Milroe is going to come in here, and he's riding high. He's had some good games. I mean, but at the end of the day, this is the same team that lost to Vanderbilt in Nashville, and and then but it's also the same team that rolled into Death Valley and just dominated. So,
And this is the same OU team that makes every offensive snap look like it's extremely difficult.
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to the comments. Steve Anderson's checking in. He says, confirmed that Francione was at TCU from 98 to 2000. And yes, he was there when LT was there. Yeah, I remember that 2000 Heisman. You had Winky wins it. Josh Heupel finishes second. And I think LT was third. And then I think Breeze was in there somewhere too. But yeah, LaDainian Thompson, I guess is there some that are starting to maybe come close to what he did at TCU, just numbers wise, but I don't know if anybody can have the impact he had.
Yeah, that guy was impactful. I mean, you think about him. He was to TCU what Marshall Faulk was when he was at San Diego State.
Oh, yeah.
San Diego State had never had anything, and then this guy is just, program builder.
Yeah, it really does turn things around for squads like that. And, I remember, was it 94 that Marshall Faulk was at San Diego State? And there was Garrison Hurst was at Georgia.
Yeah,
like everybody knew
that guy.
Everybody knew that they were the two best players out there, but the Heisman went to, I think, Charlie Ward because he was, something like that. Yeah, he was at Florida
State. At Florida State. Yeah, Florida State was riding high.
Yeah, but Garrison Hurst was just a pretty decent running back at Georgia, and then Marshall Faulk is at San Diego State. Nobody stayed up to watch those games. You didn't have a channel that carried those games back in the day.
No, and that it was just a shame because when he got in the NFL, the guy was just dominant.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best dual threat backs that has ever played the game.
Yeah, and I'm actually incorrect. It was 1992.
Okay,
he finished. Garrison Hurst finished third in the Heisman.
Okay,
and played for the Arizona Cardinals got drafted in 93. But like I said, and so 92 I think was. Let's see.
Hurst was pretty good. I think he broke his ankle when he was playing for the 49ers, and it just never healed right.
Yeah.
So he was really good.
You're exactly right with the transfer portal, and now we'll never see. I mean, I pray that these stories like we see with Danny Stutzman and Billy Bowman aren't unicorns in the near future, where it's just basically gun for hire. But I mean, you'd have to think that eventually there will be some guardrails kind of thrown down on what these players can do, because you can't have free agency in college.
No, absolutely not. And I don't know who's got to get involved. You don't want to see Congress get involved, do you? But it seems like they're itching
Well,
to.
Tommy
Tommy
Tuberville's wanting
Tuberville
to.
beating the drum for it, and
He's
I'm okay. I know
he's such a clown.
I know, but somebody's got to step up and do something, or the sport that you and I love is
Yeah.
just going to become minor league NFL.
Yeah. Gino Torretta in 1992.
Oh, gross. That's
Charlie
one of
Ward
the
in
worst
93.
Heisman winners of all time.
He really was bad. And I don't know. It's just funny. But no, so yeah, I mean, and it was so funny that Tuberville, the buffoon that he is, in his statement throws out that Indiana bought a football team. It's like, dude, you were buying, Jason Campbell and Cadillac and Ronnie Brown. Those were totally purchased. Don't try to take a high horse now.
Well, speaking of buying players, from Dan Narva, Michigan, money talked loud enough to get quarterback Underwood and Woodham from LSU. You know who his high school coach is? You want to guess? Because I know who it is. Dan knows who it is. It's Connor Stallions.
Oh, yeah. I think I did see something about that connection. So
I wonder if he's still on the payroll. As long as he can keep feeding 5-stars into the program.
I just kind of wonder if Connor doesn't, say, hey, I got you to Michigan. I want a 3% cut.
Yeah, well, he loves Michigan so much he wants to be the coach there, and he, the CIA ain't got nothing on him for spying on people.
Yeah. I don't know. It's and another thing, it would suck to see football kind of become like I know there's an element to it already, but it would suck to see it really kind of get super seedy like AAU basketball.
Oh, exactly. And Marty, you're right, man. This game is fantastic to watch. We got the Browns and the Steelers in the snow. Oh man, this is football.
While we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch off of the SWASU game and get me some Thursday night football going.
Heck yeah, this is worth the watch.
Big
old fat
Herbstreit,
snowflakes.
I'm not saying that's the great thing about dogs is, man, you lose one dog, and if there's another one, they sure can fill a void.
Oh,
he's got Pete now instead.
I think he has like 4 Goldens.
Yeah, I think so. Dan Narva slept with him.
I think he's talking about Connor Stallions.
Connor Stallions, yeah. Get paid one way or another.
Hey, but not that there's anything wrong with that.
Real quick, let's jump into a little bit of breakdown on this Bama game. The line is at 13.5. It's a 6:30 primetime game on ABC. Their last meeting against each other was in the college football playoff in 2019, which it was the 2018 season. 45-34 in a game that was not that close. It was 28-0 before halftime, and then Bama just kind of softened up and
Quentin Williams came out and just blew the entire offensive lineup. And
yes, he did
from the first quarter.
Other than a Charleston Rambo long heave,
that was an incredible throw by Kyler Murray.
Which, do you remember the cornerback that he burned on that one?
That would have been, was that a Surtain?
Yeah, Patrick Surtain,
okay.
The second. What's your opinion on players that call themselves junior or the third when you have no idea who their parents are?
Oh, man, that was rough. I don't know, probably my same opinion of the guys who put their last name and a senior on their jersey.
Sure. I mean, dude? Yeah. I mean, to me, if you're, I'm Chuck Ramsey the third. If I put that on my business card,
CR3.
No, but yeah, well, it is tattooed on my arm. But I mean, I just if you're, I don't care if you're. I mean, what Kenneth Walker the third,
RG3.
Okay, what the first two do? I have no idea.
Well, they're paying homage to those came before him, I guess.
That's great, but they ain't got. And I tell you this much as an announcer, what drives me nuts? 2 last names,
like Smith and Jigba, who you've had sitting on your bench for some reason.
He's starting this week, baby. He is starting this week. No, I've got. Well, we'll go into fantasy football later. But anyways, Patrick Surtain. I mean that Bama defense. Not well. I'll say this: the OU defense that year did
Was
not
not
have an
good.
offense that could cover up the glaring problems, and that was what Kenneth Murray's
That was
sophomore year.
um, he was a freshman when they played Georgia.
So it was the next season.
Yeah, so he's a
So
sophomore. And
I was
yeah,
sophomore, but I knew OU was in trouble when a cornerback couldn't keep up with OJ Howard, the tight end. I was
yeah,
like,
he was
this is bad.
and OJ Howard was a stud in
He
college.
was
It hadn't quite
badass.
worked
Yeah.
out for him hadn't quite worked out for him in the NFL like I thought it was because the guy is. I mean, he's a lot like the guy we were talking about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, well, what's his name? Dang it, we were just talking about him.
Oh, Sertan?
No. On
Oh,
my fantasy, Falcons tight end.
oh, Trask. Or no, not
No,
Trask. Pitts.
yeah, Kyle Pitts. Big, rangy, athletic guy. Got some size to him. Obviously can run.
Yeah.
It just didn't quite work out. Out athleted guys in the SEC, which is a crazy thing to say if you could do that and not do anything in the NFL.
It kind of is, but as I think as we're seeing, um, as we are seeing in the league, coaching
Ooh.
has so much to do with these players' performance. System has so much to do. I mean, and I'll say this, and I hate to agree with the pencil neck from the LA Chamber of Commerce, but you have players who have wow, and then they may be unrefined or they may be undisciplined, but they're still the wow.
Mm-hmm.
And you get them with the right system, the right coach, and they can do amazing things. If you have a guy who doesn't have a wow and he's in a bad system, you get Daniel Jones. And so, and I would love to see Jameis Winston assert himself as the guy that Cleveland's going to go forward with somehow, some way.
Well, yeah, they have just botched that whole thing. They had a roster. They had a guy that roster could grow with under center, who's now, oh my gosh, leading the league in touchdowns and playing great ball down for a competent franchise. And
Mm-hmm. I was a little
yeah, we're
worried
down
about
to
you Monday night.
Jameis
I checked in on you, man. Your Chiefs lost and the Thunder lost to the Spurs, which I'm rocking my Spurs hat tonight.
Yeah, you are.
Which they're losing to Utah.
Yeah,
As we
OKC's
speak.
a little banged up right now, but
Well, they
you're
had a
getting
big night
healthy.
last night from Hartenstein.
Well, it's the first game he's played all year, so
Yeah,
go out there and rock a double double, and
looks like
seem
his
like
passing attributes are solid.
yeah,
Anyway, let's
yeah,
stay on focus. So
sure.
OU, their quarterback commit flips to Florida State. He's out of Denton Geyer. I
Kevin
mean,
Sperry.
they've got their claws in on the Denton school system.
Yeah,
If they wanted this kid, I don't think he would be flipping.
right.
I'm not saying they didn't want him, but I'm just
No,
saying.
I don't. I'm not saying they didn't want him, but I mean, you remember that he was recruited under Jeff Levy.
Yeah,
He committed under Jeff Levy. He thought they were going to continue to run a similar system what Jeff Levy is doing,
mm-hmm.
and then now, God only knows what kind of system they're going to roll out there next year.
God only knows who they're going to have. I mean, but
the plane trackers had tracked a flight from New Orleans to Tuscaloosa to Norman today. So that could be the OC from Tulane coming in for a visit.
okay.
If you believe in that kind of stuff, which is it's always kind of fun to see how far these people go.
Oh yeah, I mean, and after Muleshoe left, it was rampant. The game this week, man, I like Bama in the 13.5.
I do
I don't
too.
see how Oklahoma can muster enough. I mean, that Missouri offense is nothing. That Missouri defense isn't anything to just wow you. And
No. And the defense is going to give us an inspired performance for about a quarter and a half, and they're going to be on the field a lot, and then here come the points.
well, and that's the thing. The defense just has to basically pitch shutouts.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting
pathetic.
to see what kind of offensive line lineup we have after a bye week.
We'll see. Tarquin is not on the injury report this week. which I don't think they should. I think they should just go with the guys that played last week
Yeah.
or last time they played. Let them get some continuity because they're all younger dudes, except for
Yeah.
Spencer Brown.
Devontae Barnes is questionable. I mean the young kid
Xavier
Robinson, go with him. I mean, I guess they talked. Wasn't it last week that the word was they'd talked to him about burning his red shirt?
They asked him if he wanted to keep his red shirt, and he said he wants to play.
Taylor Tatum can contribute, but I mean, at the end of the day, Jeremy, I mean, for as much as they struggled when they came up with a play or two to do something in that game, wow, that is a lot of snow.
Yeah, it is.
Cleveland leading 10-3, trying to improve on 2 and 8, and their defense is holding Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, well, Danger Russ
a lot
is
of
getting something going right
lately.
now.
Yeah, but Jackson Arnold's listed as a captain. I was happy to see Ethan Downs on the captain's list. I just don't see, like you said, I think this Alabama team presents so much challenge for the defense that it'll be hard for them to keep a lid on what they're going to do. And things are getting serious now. I would be surprised if this Bama team, who's fighting for their playoff life, would have a risk of dropping something now. Having said that, Jeremy, I mean, this defense of OU, they're ranked 74th in the country in total points allowed. They're 120th in the country in passing yards allowed. They're 32nd. They do stop the run well. Danny Stutzman, I think, is graded out better than anybody in the country. If I
90.6.
Yeah. But they are 169th in points allowed. So, and then on the offensive side, you know, OU's in the hundreds and high, I mean, 158th in rushing, 206th in passing, and 177th in total yards, but they're 90th in points. You know why that is? Why are they in the top 100?
I don't know. I don't know.
Points allowed or points scored. It has to be all those defensive scores that they had in the first 2 or 3 games.
This is true.
Yeah. So
it's so frustrating to even think of. I haven't tried to.
I just don't see how they can overcome the turnover bug. I mean, that is something that has plagued both quarterbacks throughout the season. Even one of the Taylor Tatum has coughed the ball up a lot.
In Venable's tenure, they're undefeated when they've won the turnover battle.
There you go. I mean, that's the kicker to it all. And if they win the turnover battle against Missouri, they're probably walking out of Columbia with a win. So,
score update.
Okay.
Your Oklahoma Sooners men's basketball team just took down East Texas A&M 84-56.
Man, I bet Corey Hogue is sad about that.
Behind 20 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists from Jeremiah Fears.
Fears, man. OSU lost to Florida Atlantic tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a more moribund athletic department?
So did you catch the chain of events in Boca Raton this week?
No.
Okay, so Herman gets fired.
Oh, yeah.
Tom Herman, Vodka Tom, as we call him on the show, gets fired. And then the AD subsequently brings back a defensive coordinator that Herman had let go. You can't script that stuff.
Man, what are they? Man, Tom Herman used to be a halfway decent football coach. What is going on?
I think he was making secret trips to Tuscaloosa or Austin and visiting with the pole assassin.
So who's coaching rehab staff is he going to be on?
He's got to probably pray that Urban Meyer takes a job somewhere because I don't see anybody else taking a flyer on him.
You don't think Kalen DeBoer bring him on as an analyst?
Oh, no. Well, I mean, that's the thing. The analyst role is obviously, we've seen worse. DJ Durkin still works in college football.
Exactly. I mean, Brian Kelly killed a guy, and he's still working in college football.
You know what you reminded me of right there, don't you?
What's that?
Airheads. Judd Nelson. Vince Neal only did 6 weeks, and he killed a guy. And one proud feat I have as a father is my sons can basically quote that whole movie.
Nice.
I ain't
Very
farting
nice.
on no snare drum. So if you haven't checked out Airheads, go ahead. Tom Herman 6-14 and 3 conference wins. In did they move up to the AAC this year? They
I
weren't.
think they might. It
I
might
think they've
have.
been in AAC.
Is that Florida Atlantic? That's where Lane was, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And where was it's the program that started by
Our Schnellenberger.
our Schnellenberger.
Man, it is really looking nasty in Pittsburgh right now, or in Cleveland.
Here's a Texas fan talking trash on Twitter. Oklahoma might actually be worse than the Charlie Strong / Tom Herman Texas years. I right now I'd take a Tom Herman season.
Yeah, I'd take 8-4.
Of the 8 quarterbacks they recruited, only one, Matthew Merrick, was the worst recruit. Who's he comparing Matthew Merrick to? Well, whoever this is taking a crack at Jamarian Ficklin.
Oh,
Here's the thing.
did he make that?
Don't count out an Oklahoma-based quarterback.
No. Sam Bradford
I mean,
was a 3-star.
Yeah, Jason White was
White was a 3-star out of Tuttle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Man,
Justin Fuente,
who was really good at Murray State, and he could have been just fine at Oklahoma had he had some sort of stability and maybe ran the same offense more than 1 year.
I'll tell you something. People forget that Kel Gundy could fling it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mike Busso says he loves this game with all the snow. Same, Busso. Same.
Yeah.
That was on the personal super secret text line.
Oh, okay. So, Boos, you're not allowed to be private messaging.
He is probably at Twin Peaks right now watching the game.
Oh, there you go. All right. I love the commercial with the guy in the Bama hat. High tide. Okay, so but like I mentioned, these units for OU, they're just not getting the job done really on any side of the ball. And
that commercial's on right now.
Huh?
High tide.
Yeah, I was ahead of you. That's what brought it to mind. But I mean, you go out, you do what you can, and you realize that you're not going bowling this season. Well, I say that. I don't know what kind of LSU team they're going to face at Death Valley on final game when they're ruled out of the conference championship and out of the playoff.
Is this Kelly's last year in Baton Rouge?
Yeah,
they fired guys.
He's got a massive buyout, doesn't he?
Well, I mean,
isn't he making like $40 million over the next 5 years if they wanted to?
They might be. They didn't have any problem buying out Coach O or Les, or
they might have had a little cause on Coach O. They might have kind of
keep your hands off the co-eds, Coach O.
Yeah. Dan Narva, it's raining over Lake Erie, but being just slightly colder on shore. It's dumping on Cleveland now.
Oh, man, it is.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could have. If I would have had time, I had some things to do. Dad would have got out on the golf course. It was beautiful.
It was so nice
in western Oklahoma, and I went to a high school softball signing.
Yeah,
Marley Teasley, the winning pitcher in Weatherford softball's fast pitch state tournament championship, signed her letter of intent today with Grand Canyon University, and she will go be I think they're the antelopes.
I don't know. Is that
started to say jackalope, but I don't think
jackalope. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Man,
but anyways, great kid, and give her a shout out here on the show. And I was really glad that
that is so
really
cool. Anybody that gets to continue their athletic career after high school, it's a big deal, and it should be celebrated.
Well, and I asked her because her coach got up and talked about what a hard worker she was, and I said, Marley, what is it that when you wait? Oh, what a catch!
You're in front. You're ahead of you. That's okay.
White Heart in the white snow.
Look at that. Wow. That's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, the yard markers are not
visible.
No, they are. Well, they've superimposed them on the field digitally.
Yeah. Oh, now they're sweeping.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh wow, what a catch!
But when I asked Marley about, as an athlete, what is it that she gets up every morning and, causes her to go put in work? And, Jeremy, it's funny because her and another player for Weatherford, Harley Chisholm, I follow them on social media, and they were in the off season. They're posting these workout videos. They're squatting. These are small, diminutive young ladies, and they're squatting 300. It's like I couldn't push 200 with my legs right now. But anyways, she said, she goes, I wake up in the morning and I just feel like I've been given a gift. And if I don't go utilize it, I'm not, there's a lot of people that love to have the ability I have. And I was like, that's really a great way to look at it.
That's
But,
a fantastic attitude, and she'll go
and
along with
then,
that attitude.
yeah. And then her teammate, Harley Chisholm, who I mentioned, she's a Florida State commit. So, I
Oh,
mean,
that's
there's just a
cool.
lot of collegiate talent within my school that I call. But anyways, so OU, I'm going to be back by game time. We'll just say we'll play it by ear on the college football wrap up because I'm going to be
Well, I'm
coming back
going.
from. Oh yeah, you're going. You and Lenny.
Yeah, me and Cunado can't
You
lose
and
the
Cunha.
tailgate, but I'm not. I'm not going to go to the seats to
Yeah.
avoid, getting in a fist fight with an 80-year-old man who doesn't want me yelling behind him.
Well, that and I'll say this, and Bama fans when they came to Norman in '02, they were cool.
Top shelf.
They were top shelf. There was one guy that kept screaming, "It's great to be from Alabama." And, he was just kind of annoying, but he wasn't a jerk per se. But I remember bumping into a lot of their fans, throughout the day down there in
Yeah,
'02.
they
It
were
was
they were
great.
good.
Yeah.
Hey, Marty, if you are going to be down there and you want to stop by a nice tailgate and watch some football, I think we dropped a pin in the group chat.
He did. And thank you, Lenny Rowland, for doing that. If I
There,
wasn't coming back from Amarillo, I would make a point to be there, but I think by the time we get back from Weatherford basketball in Amarillo, Texas, I'm going to be just willing to sit and watch the game in my
well,
chair.
we'll have a satellite out watching games, and there is a lovely church across the street that lets us use the indoor bathroom. So
Oh, sweet
it
man, bless
is
them.
yes, bless them. $20 to park. It's fantastic.
Uh-huh. Jamarian Ficklin posted shared a post of somebody who posted a picture of him looking down the football field and with his back to the camera. It says me watching all the Oklahoma quarterback news. And then he just reposted it with laughing emojis. So,
Well, I mean, he's got an offer to Texas State, and Oklahoma might offer is probably going to offer him this weekend. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it's so Malik Hawkins is doubling down
oh yeah, good.
1 hour ago with us or against us 100 hashtag OUDNA hashtag locked in. So the Hawkins boys are true blue Sooner kids. I'll say that.
Yeah, they took a big chance on their dad. Brought him in here. He had gone through some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Yeah, he was homeless
Yeah,
in
he
high
was.
school.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. So offensive coordinator wise on the talk, you mentioned that, the Tulane OC might be en route, according to Tails. But so much talk this week about Dan Mullen and Ben Arbuckle are
There
the
has
two
been a
that
lot
I
of talk
see.
about Arbuckle.
And I'll just say this. And if it's somebody that comes in with new energy, new ideas, and can work with quarterbacks, I'm okay with that. But I mean, honestly, there's a part of me, Jeremy, that would say, can we kind of break away from the Leach tree a bit? I mean, because Arbuckle was at Houston Christian under Zach Kitley. Zach Kitley, I believe, was a air raid guy. I mean, the Mike Leach tree is amazing. I love Leach, but I mean, should we just go back to it because it's what we've been since '99 or what?
You know what? I don't even care anymore. I just want an offense to go on the field and it to look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy. I'm a simple guy. I know that they got enough athletes on the field to make it happen. They
Mhm.
just need to be put in a system where they can succeed. They have not been set up for success since Jeff Levy left.
Mhm.
And Levy was highly criticized. Most of it was because of, you know, things
CAB.
beyond his control or
Mhm.
under or things he could directly control. But
Yeah. I don't
it's a
know. I mean,
tough place.
the funny thing is Joe John Finley was a player at OU during a time where we thought that would be the worst that the offense would perform. 05.
That's true.
And
And
that year Kevin Wilson did a ton of two tight end formations,
yep.
and Finley was one of them.
Uh-huh.
Cleveland going for it on 4th and inches in the snow. Offset eye, hand off to the fullback. You don't make it. Wait, he did. No, he fought through it. Sorry.
Who was the other tight end? That wasn't Brody. Or was it Brody Eldridge?
No, he was later.
Okay, he was later. He was there with Landry.
Um, since you mentioned it, let me go ahead and effort that.
Yeah, he did fight through that. Man, horse.
Let's say 05.
Joe John and dang.
I'm looking through, trying to figure out. Let's see here. Aaron Cummings was a freshman that year. I think he was probably just a walk-on.
Yeah, I don't. That didn't sound
Brody
like
Eldridge was there, but he was a
There you
defensive
go.
end.
Oh wow. Well, they found a spot for him, didn't they? And he had a
Uh-huh.
nice little stint in the NFL thanks to it.
Jordan Green from Colleyville was a sophomore tight end on that squad. James Moses. I think that
Bubba
was
Moses.
Bubba
Yep.
Moses. Yeah.
Before they moved him inside.
That was the other guy. And
He caught the fake punt against Missouri.
Willie
fake field goal.
Roberts.
I remember Willie Roberts, yeah.
That's all the tight ends I see. Ben Wyand from Frisco.
No, that's not ringing any bells.
Dane Zaslaw from Edmond Memorial was a running back on that squad. DJ Wolf, Travis Wilson. Travis Wilson, probably one of the more underrated receivers and underutilized receivers since the Bob Stoops era began in '99.
That's true.
Caught the only touchdown, didn't he? Or caught the first touchdown in the 05 Orange Bowl blowout. Oh, so anyways, but so you guys will be down at the tailgate, and
Yep.
so it's a big event. It's just a shame that looking forward, at this game, that it's just I don't see a way it can really be competitive.
It would take a miracle. And if they can find something and offensively, which they haven't yet this year.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't turn what they've been doing into something functional in a week and a half.
No, and it I mean, you had in essence a bye week against Maine, but and I think that you could see some amount of improvement or rehabilitation, whatever you want to say, in that time that they had. I mean, a few things clicked against Missouri, not in the first half, but both defenses were playing tough in the first half.
Yeah.
This game, I mean, I know Bama kind of had a sleeper. I don't know. They got a lot of weapons, and I know they basically had two halves of football this season that have cost them their two losses.
Yeah, and if you go back and rewatch the Missouri game, they had plays. Jackson Arnold, the poor kid, he's been hit so much. He's like a whip dog at this point.
Yeah.
People get close to him and he's bailing, he's ducking, and he's not seeing guys wide open down the field.
Yeah. And
there were so many points left on the field. It just an avalanche of points had you just been able to stay upright.
Hey, what game was it that I was watching? Was it? Oh, it was Dallas. What was it? Dallas on Monday night? Dallas was the Monday night game. I guess
Monday,
lost Sunday.
Dallas and Houston.
So I misspoke.
Chiefs lost Sunday.
How about that play where the guy hits a 62-yard?
Oh, and Joku dropped it. Wow.
Yeah, that's what he do.
Yeah, he hit a 62-yarder. There was a penalty, and then
They moved it forward 15 yards and then got down and went for it on fourth down.
and didn't get it. That's why McCarthy. McCarthy's they got to fire him this year.
Yeah, he's
They
got
do. I mean, they're not going to fire the GM, which is the one who probably should be
Jameis in
fired.
the end zone.
So what did I saw the Dumb and Dumber meme. Our GM won't. We don't have a GM. We don't have a quarterback. Our stadium's falling apart. A piece of sheet metal falling off when they tried to close the roof for the first time in 3 years.
Yeah. NFL wise, real quick before we jump to the NFL, let's take a look at our pick'em.
Oh yeah, I need to do my pick'em. Let me unplug the phone here. All right.
Yeah.
Let's see what Jameis is scoring fantasy wise with that touchdown run. Yep, I played the wrong quarterback this week.
Dang. Who'd you play? You said
I played Stroud. Just that's who I've had all year. But
looks like Jameis's helmet communication is hanging outside his helmet.
Probably just that W he's getting ready to eat.
The 2-point conversion's good.
Wow.
And Joku catches it this time. Goes up 8 feet to catch it.
Oh, his helmet broke. Like, oh no, yeah. It is hanging out. It popped through the vent.
Uh-huh.
These new helmets, man, they're great and all, but in the cold,
it's like some sort of transistor radio I made with a science kit I had when I was a kid.
Remember that thing that Steve DeBerg wore back in the 70s when he had the battery pack on his back and the microphone when he had laryngitis?
Oh, okay, yeah.
They should do that.
All right, so last week I scored 9 points out of 25, so 9 and 16.
See what I did. I scored 10.
Our standing, I think Max Patton is leading. Mike Crow is in second. Connor bringing up the rear. He's probably not been picking. I
don't think he has been. Yeah. He picked last week, but he missed a couple weeks.
He's too busy hounding Elon.
That's right.
But anyway, so I am ahead of Luke. I'm behind you, so by 2 points. But this week, Jeremy, like we mentioned on your text message last week, probably go Costanza. Just your first thought, go the opposite. But I do like Sparty tomorrow night, giving 13.5 to Purdue. Purdue's really bad, and that's in East Lansing. So Dan Narba, I appreciate you.
I've got Sparty as well. Purdue is no good.
No, and then Iowa's at Maryland. I like the Hawkeyes giving 6.5.
I'm gonna take the Terps in that one.
Okay,
I'm picking these real time, guys. So.
Okay. Terrapins are 6.5-point dogs, and only 19% of the pickers have taken them, so that'll burn me. I like SMU giving the 9.5 in Charlottesville. The Cavaliers are probably a team that have coasted it in.
Same.
North Carolina, Boston College. They don't have a quarterback. Dan O'Brien, is it Dave or Dan O'Brien?
Tom
O'Brien, the coach.
Yeah.
Who's Dave O'Brien? Davey O'Brien's the trophy.
Yeah.
Who's Dan O'Brien? Okay, so anyway, Tom.
he was a pentathlete in the 90s.
Oh, Dave and Dan, yeah, the Nike campaign. Tom O'Brien, I guess, went to social media or said something in his press conference that the SMU fans were the worst he's ever experienced, the ones behind the bench. So you go to a stadium of 30,000, you think you're going to, okay, and so they're rewiring Jameis's helmet. But I like SMU going on the road and get it, they've got something to play for.
Sure.
Unless they, and I think this wraps it up for them, possibly. North Carolina, I like North Carolina at BC. I don't think they've got much to play for. I took Illinois and the -1 at, is it Piscataway?
Piscataway, New Jersey.
Yeah,
I want to take Rutgers really bad, but it's basically a pick 'em.
Yeah, that's
And yeah, I don't want to. I
in
don't
real
want to
life that'd
touch
be a
that game.
trap game.
Right?
What do you think about the Gators in Gainesville getting 10 from the Rebs?
They played better last week
I might change my pick right now.
to the Gators.
Yeah.
You go ahead and take the Gators. I'm going to take Ole Miss.
Okay.
I think Lane's going to pull that one out.
Yeah, I went Costanza and went against my initial thought process. Arizona at Fort Worth getting 11 and a half. I took the Wildcats.
Same.
UCF on the road to Morgantown, and the Knights are giving 3, and I
This
like
is
that.
West Virginia. This is their annual save Neil. What's his name?
Neil Brown.
Neil Brown's job. So
Yep.
give me the Mountaineers.
Colorado getting no respect on the road at Kansas. Of course, Kansas has played really well lately, but they are a 2.5 favorite in Lawrence.
Well, they're playing at Arrowhead.
Oh, are they?
And give me the Jayhawks.
Okay, so Jayhawks pull off some magic. Oh, somebody's gone. Is that Wilson? Or is
Oh,
that Justin Fields? That's Justin Fields.
Justin Fields is in?
Yeah, he just ran the ball for about 30 yards.
Oh, man.
So they're utilizing him in some let's see what this is. Fields with the
Oh, he's back off the field.
was that just a one play?
Yeah, it must have been. Oh, no, that's him again. Oh, my. He's gone. No.
No,
All
that
right.
was the play I saw. He got tackled, but it was a heck of a productive play.
Wisconsin visiting Lincoln.
Well, before that, going back to Colorado, here's the thing with regards to Coach Sanders. Ooh, that might be a late hit flag. With regards to Coach Sanders, I don't have a problem giving him the credit and the props that he deserves for what they've done with the program while they're there. They are a good team.
They are.
He's got a commitment coming. He flipped a kid now.
5-star quarterback.
5-star quarterback. Who'd he flip him from? Was it USC?
I think so. Yes, it was USC.
Yeah. So, I mean, Michael Irvin's trying to recruit him to come to Dallas. I don't think he wants any part of that dumpster fire.
Why would he? He won't be able to do things his way.
No.
In Dallas.
And so, unless money talks, I don't know. Unless
Jerry's got a lot of loyalty to his former players and will probably give him a longer leash than he would someone else, but I just don't see him wanting to deal with that.
Here's my thing with prime time is stop playing the victim, and I say this, and I said the same thing about Baker Mayfield. You can't. You have to find some other motivation than you've been slighted or that somebody's rattling your cage to get to you. I mean, it just eventually that's going to fail you. Now, they could win the Big 12 and they could make the playoff, and they could also get blown out, by a second place, team from the SEC or the Big 10 in the playoff. I mean, but still, that's an amazing turnaround. So I'm not taking anything away from that, but it's just one of those things. And I don't have as much problem with the stuff coming from him as I do his kids. And Travis Hunter, if you get the Heisman, great. Shut up. You should be playing for the playoff, dude.
I know. Yeah, we've seen what individual accolades can, eventually do to a program, right?
Yeah. Yeah. They're great. If you don't
they're great, but
you don't win the big one.
Team goals are where it's at,
Yeah.
I don't wear a 2017 Baker Mayfield Heisman Trophy shirt everywhere I go.
No.
I want that natty.
So anyways, that's just kind of my take is I understand Dion has his spiel that works for him sometimes, but I don't know. And if you criticize him, then you're the deplorable. So whatever.
Sure.
You were about to say you like Nebraska giving 2.5 at Lincoln.
I don't like Nebraska in that game.
I took the Badgers.
The kid's not the quarterback up there is not playing well the last few weeks. He's given the ball away way too much. Yeah. It's kind of turning into an issue. He's a freshman. He's playing like a freshman. Wisconsin's a pretty good team. I like the Badgers.
John Workman, the Steve DeBerg reference was very nice.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back in the day,
Yeah.
one of
Uh,
one of my favorite Chiefs quarterbacks of all time.
yeah, he was a fighter.
37-year-old Steve DeBerg out there with the broken hand, handing the ball off, and about look
Exactly.
like he's about to die all the time.
OSU getting 3.5 at home on their senior day against the Texas Tech Red Raiders. I got OSU in this one.
Give me the Red Raiders.
Okay, you're going Oppo. You and the rest of the country, basically. Penn State at Minnesota. I like. Is he still row the
And
boat guy?
oh gosh, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
You like the goober and the quarter zip with the tie.
I like the 11.5 because I don't know that Penn State goes on the road and just beats them by 2 touchdowns.
Listen, I want the Gophers because I like the Gophers because Penn State is actively Penn Stating.
Yeah, that's and now they're going to go in and they'll press because they
Sure.
feel like they got to go out and show everybody they're playoff poll worthy.
That is exactly right.
That's
And they're
my
going to
thought
press and they're
process.
not going to play well.
San Diego State getting 4.5 at Utah State. I just took the Aztecs just out of loyalty.
Yeah, I've got Utah State in that game. I picked them last week against they were dogs against Hawaii and they pulled it out. So I got the Aggies at home.
BYU suffers their second loss of the season in Tempe to the Sun Devils. Scattaboo with a big game. I like AZ State. I like ASU giving 3 to the Cougars on the road or at home.
Sun Devils are sneaky good.
They
I
are
got them
sneaky.
too.
Tulsa, I think they were my pick for team to score the least, but they do score. That's the thing. That might be a bad pick. But they're 17.5-point dogs at South Florida. I like TU to cover that number.
Same. They're playing better football lately.
With no NIL money, too.
No, exactly.
I like Pitt to cover the 8.5 at Louisville.
Yeah, give me that.
I like the Cougars of Washington State to go into Corvallis and cover the 12.5.
Is this the de facto Pac-12 championship game?
This is the Pac-2.
I like the Cougars in that as well. Lots of points. Benny Arbuckle's going to be dialing it up.
Yeah. Marty Wandry says they used Fields like that last week also. And then Dan Narvis says PJ Fleck.
Yes, PJ Fleck.
It's James Franklin.
Hey,
so.
it's Franklin.
Hey.
I picking up what you're putting down there, Dan.
My kids used to watch Franklin. It's funny. Baylor rolls into H-Town and are a 7.5-point favorite against the Cougs.
Cougars have been playing better, haven't they?
They got beat pretty bad last week, I think.
Yeah, let's go with you know what, Aranda's kind of got it rolling a little bit. May have saved his job.
Pretty solid.
They're going to keep it running.
I like Boise State, and I think Boise State was featured on a bad beat on Monday night, covering a bad beat, maybe an over-under, but they're 22.5-point favorites in, is it Laramie that Wyoming's at?
It is.
I like the Cowboys to cover 22.5 because you just don't know what the weather's going to be like, and
Yeah, but you know what travels, especially
defense.
in snowy games, running game.
Yeah, running game and defense.
Give me Ashton Genty going off again, covering the 22.5.
You'll take the Broncos spelled the correct way.
Yep.
All right, and Army Notre Dame. I like Notre Dame to cover the 15.5 against the Black Knights.
What do you hate, America?
I do. No.
You heard it here first. Yeah, Notre Dame's too big, too strong.
And it's funny.
I do love the triple option that Army runs out there, but
yeah,
Notre Dame.
They're taking so much heat for the Northern Illinois loss, which they should.
Oh yeah.
But, I mean, they went into College Station and won. I mean,
yep, and A&M's going to probably be playing for the SEC.
A&M can do us a solid next week and beat Texas. And then those A&M Aggies, I think I took Alabama to cover the 13.5.
Same.
I like A&M to roll into the Plains and beat Auburn by more than 2.5.
Every fiber of my being screams pick Auburn. That being said, going with the head, Aggies.
Matt Campbell and his Cyclones roll into Utah. Is this Utes team just really? Are they despondent by now? Or are they? Will Campbell roll in there and cover the 7.5?
Yeah, that's not a lot of points. They're a lot. Utah is just lost.
Yeah, it's kind of a bad deal. And then I like UCLA to cover the 4.5 against USC. That'll be in Pasadena, apparently.
I love that game. What about Virginia Tech Blue Devils?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I like Duke covering the 3.5 at home.
Yeah, you want to say Virginia Tech, but Virginia Tech is not anything close to what they once were.
Yeah. Dan Narva says he can never resist turtles. Take Maryland.
And what's your score prediction for the Crimson Tide Sooners?
I got 42-17 Bama.
I got 35-14
Okay.
Bama.
And then the other tiebreaker, I got Wisconsin beating Nebraska 28-14.
Man,
Make sure that was it's 2.5 point.
21-7 Badgers.
Tawi Walker with 280 yards rushing.
And then and a single tear will roll down my face.
It did. All right, man, your Thunder, like we mentioned, they get the win last night against Portland. Portland's really bad, but still you get Isaiah Hartenstein back. He goes out, does pretty good. SGA is just SGA. I think Jay Will's kind of hit that spot too, where he's you know you're going to get a certain amount from him each night. They just got to get healthy.
If all things are being equal this season, voting for the All-Star team, OKC should have 2 All-Stars.
Yeah,
J-Dub and obviously Shea's going to be an All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
Chet would have been an All-Star had he been able to stay healthy. I think we, me and a couple of guys at work, Cameron Hall, discussing it. We think he's going to be back by March. So,
okay, yeah,
8 to 10 weeks plus a few weeks to get in shape. It can happen.
109-99. Oklahoma City beats Portland last night. They were,
they're playing slower because they're working guys in that haven't played in a little bit. Caruso's been out. Oh man, Jameis might be dead. Hartenstein brings an entirely different element to that roster.
Who's that got him? TJ? No, it was
Cam Hayward. No.
Anyway, finish up on Hartenstein.
Yeah, he brings a different element. He's a good rebounder. Haven't had that in a little bit. He rolls out there with a double-double last night. He can create. He can handle the ball a little bit. He can stretch the floor just a touch, just enough to keep guys out of the paint.
Yeah.
You get him and Chet on the floor at the same time, it lights out, man. It's going to be fun to watch.
It really should present a problem to the teams that have caused problems for them.
Yep.
Boy, Wilson has a lot of time, but he can't throw it in the snow.
Maybe it was a Subway sandwich.
Yeah. Let's see here. So the loss to the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday was odd because, and it just goes to the nature of the NBA.
Yeah, you have a bad shooting night, you can lose to anybody.
Yeah, 110-104, and no Wemby and no Sohan.
Oh my!
That was a bad miss. No Wemby, no Sohan, but Chris Paul gets 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 11 assists. The Spurs outshot them 47-41%, and outshot them really bad from 3. I'll say this: watching that and me being a Spurs fan, I'm so, and this is what I take heat from Connor Carr about, but. My gosh, can you drive to the free throw line and take a higher percentage shot?
I need a 15-foot jumper.
God.
Like I need air to breathe.
They were gunning 3-pointers. Here's their stat line from Sunday night, Jeremy. The Spurs, 47%. They made 39. You know how many they shot?
60.
83.
Holy crap.
They shot. No. I'm sorry. Looking at the wrong stat. 19 of 46. They were 41% from 3. They shot 46 threes. They shot, So.
Hey, if they're falling at a good clip, that's great. Keep shooting
41%.
them.
There's the touch. They got the touchdown on that one.
Oh boy, haven't seen it yet.
So they've come after after Cleveland gets down there and scores. I think isn't that 2 touchdowns unanswered for Pitt?
It is.
Yeah,
How
Cleveland going
about
to
that?
Cleveland. But no, I mean it was so many. I mean 46 3-pointers, Jeremy. It just ground my gears to watch. It was so,
But they made 41% of them, Chuck. Think of
that's
that.
great. It just it seemed like I was watching for every miss, and it's just so bad. It's just so, it's just
Oh,
that's not good. I don't care what anybody says. It's not good basketball.
well, no, they've taken a lot of strategy out of the game. Guys just hanging around the 3-point line, and
Fast breaks. I mean,
they're
you
running
got a
4-out
3-on-2.
offense.
Somebody's drifting out to the wing to take a 3.
Well, you got one ball handler, and then you got 4 guys hanging out at the 3-point line.
Yeah,
Get into the paint, dish out. Oh, open shot.
yeah. It's just tough for me to watch, but this is a tough time to watch the NBA this time of year. But so real quick, as we start to wrap up on this Thursday night, and we went early because I will be on the road for high school basketball tomorrow and Saturday. But Jeremy, they announced yesterday, I saw it on Twitter, that Around the Horn will be ending its 23-year run.
Yeah, I can't believe it was still on the air.
Yeah, I tell you what's funny is when I was a detective, and my schedule was like 7 to 3, 8 to 4, whatever the case. I mean, it was kind of viewing for me, that and PTI, and that's back when I actually used to hit a gym once in a while.
Oh,
And so I can remember being on a treadmill or being somewhere, and oh yeah, Marty Wandry, big game for the Red Tornadoes tomorrow as they travel to Wagner as they upset the defending state champion Blanchard Lions last week in the first round of the playoffs. My team, the Weatherford Eagles, fell to the Bethany Bronchos, but Marty will be on the road with that. You can catch that one on Right Dot Media, Red Tornado TV, as they go and take on a very tough and talented Wagner team. But Wagner team who's without their star player, Alex Shieldknight, who I think is an OU commit.
yes, he is. Sorry.
Bless you. So anyways, but what I was getting at is it just seemed like for a big chunk of years, and here's the thing, I get it. I can't stand the mothership and the decisions they make, but I kind of get it because, nobody knows who print journalists are.
No.
And every time they had Mina Kimes on there, you know what I did?
Turn the channel.
I turned the channel. I didn't want to watch that.
Jeff Pearlman, the baseball writer.
Yeah. He's
Go ahead.
Is he from is that same guy from the Dan Patrick Show?
Yes, he
Who's
wrote
McLovin? Is that, or is he Perloff?
No, he's I don't know. I don't
Okay,
want-
sorry, I derailed.
Anyways, he's a baseball. He wrote the Barry Bonds book. Sometimes a bad guy wins. He's written several biographies about these players, and he was with ESPN for years. I think the magazine side, but he was happy about it ending, and his whole thing was everybody was passionate about every topic they brought up. You watch it and you got like Levitard on there, and was Woody
Page.
And it was all just manufactured outrage and passion, and
yeah. I'll take you one step further. That was the essence of Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless when they started First Take.
Oh, I know, and
You can't
that's
tell me that they disagreed on every single topic they ever breached.
Oh, I know.
Broached.
It's silly. The whole debate show format is silly, and it's still silly. It'll always be silly.
I mean, Orlovsky gets on there and fires out some of the dumbest opinions I've ever heard in my life. And I know that it's the producer just saying, "Yeah, we need you to roll with this today."
I know.
Look at Jimmy Galloway on the college football preview.
That guy's a mental midget.
He said that Indiana should sit their quarterback this week. I mean,
I know. I don't know how guys like that are still employed, or Booger McFarland, you know.
I'll give Booger credit, man. He's kind of common sense nowadays.
Well, it good,
Booger on
great, because
college
it was, you know, 10 years of Captain Obvious takes, and finally the guy settled into his role.
college football. Thank you. I
Uh-huh.
mean, he knows the SEC. I mean, I don't know, but I like Tony. I've always liked Tony Reale. I always thought he did a good job. I would have cut PTI and moved around the horn before I did that, because Kornheiser and Wilbon are just
And
that's
they're unwatchable these
that's
days.
sleeper TV,
It's
right?
like it's the male version of the View. Sorry.
Good point. All right. Um, all right. So Thunder, OU, OSU. Man, what a weird senior day for them. Brennan Presley, he's what now, the all-time receiving leader what record did he set? Touchdowns or receiving touchdowns? He's been such an outstanding competitor for OSU. Think about
that.
think about the quarterbacks he's had throwing the ball to him.
Well, you think about the guys that came before him. You had a guy that won the Bolitnikoff twice.
Who
Blackman.
Yeah, Justin Blackman.
Justin Blackman. You had Dez.
Yeah.
Rashawn Woods.
Yeah, a lot of receiver history.
Oh yeah, fantastic.
That kid is really good. Imagine
Yeah.
imagine if he had on it.
We'd had Mason Rudolph.
No, yeah. Did
Whedon
he off at all?
I don't know. I don't.
Or did he play totally under Spencer Sanders and now
Rudolph's been in the league for a while?
Yeah. Okay. So imagine if who was the kid that was 30?
Brandon Whedon.
Brandon Whedon. Imagine if he had Brandon Whedon. I mean, I don't know. It's just a shame for that kid, man. Jameis took a plow and then completed that thing.
Hey, he's a tough guy. You gotta say you can say a lot of things about Jameis for being goofy, but man, that guy is a competitor.
Yeah. Marty Wandry, stat boy. Is that in reference to Reale? Or is that me?
What a throw.
Yeah. Dan Narva, I think Booger stuck up hard for Florida State last year. Well,
and good on him.
That's the thing. Did he feel that, or was he instructed to do so?
Well, exactly. And everyone knows Florida State got hosed last year. They would have got killed in the playoff, but you're an undefeated champion of a Power 4 conference and you don't get in the playoff.
The green screen yellow line for the first down is blending in with parts of the Steelers uniform.
Oh, Jameis got hammered on the sideline.
Uh-huh.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So anyways, but farewell. I guess they said next summer will be the wrap up of Around the Horn. And I remember when Jay Mariotti was one of the guests on there. He was a Chicago sports writer, and he had a show in the 90s on one-on-one sports back in the day. I always kind of like Mariotti. He just he must have got canceled or something. I don't know what happened to him, but Woody Page, Tim Cowlishaw. I mean,
Tim Cowlishaw, yeah,
has covered a ton of Dallas sports in his career. And
Jackie McMullen, was that the?
Jackie McMullen was on there. Bill Plaschke was on there a lot. Plaschke's wasn't he calling for Lincoln's job last season?
He was.
So here's the thing, like Cowlishaw, other than people who will look at the Dallas Morning News Sports Day, who's going to know anything about who he is, and that's a duck and it's intercepted. Pittsburgh's going to roll out of there with a win.
Yeah, they are.
All right. Well, you about ready to wrap it up, brother?
Yeah, just one more thing on that. The way things cycle, maybe they're finally start putting personalities on Sports Center again and making that appointment viewing.
You could. I mean,
maybe bring back baseball tonight. Every night.
Maybe, yeah.
I need my web gems.
No kidding. And the thing about it is Scott Van Pelt is carrying.
Yes, Max Kellerman was the first host, Marty.
Yeah, Max Kellerman was. Yeah, it wasn't Max the first.
It was Max and then Tony.
Yeah. And,
I think Reale was Stat Boy to begin with.
Okay,
Was saying.
He was on PTI. You're right.
Yeah.
He gave them their corrections.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but Reale actually, he answered a tweet I tagged him in after the 4-2 game.
Nice.
Yeah. So pretty cool of him. But Scott Van Pelt and really Stanford Steve and College Game Day are carrying that because nobody cares about their NBA pregame. I don't care who they have on there. Nobody cares.
Yeah, I know.
And I did see today that they said no way will they plug Stephen A. Smith into inside the NBA when it comes to ESPN.
Let that man have a day off. They put him into everything.
Yeah. Did you see? Speaking of putting him into everything, did you see Ryan Clark I saw a clip of it on a podcast, and I think I retweeted it. But he's taking LeBron James Jr. to task.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't know they stayed in Marriott courtyards.
Well, I didn't know LeBron couldn't afford to send a security guy with his son if he had to go on the road.
I just have to wonder if it's the number of security guys they would have to send.
Well, he's not the president.
But he is the son of LeBron James, and I get it. I mean, I tell you this much, I wouldn't feel secure being in security by myself.
Yeah, maybe.
Even in my prime.
Maybe. I don't know.
But Ryan Clark took him to task, and then you have all the social media warriors taking him to task for questioning LeBron. So,
well, maybe if Jordan would have sent some security guys with his kids, they would have been trying to date Larsa.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. It is a cluster of what they're doing with that particular draft pick. What about that Dalton Connect, man? That guy. What a big game for him as a rookie.
I know, mate. Some good players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to help. It's going to help lift LA over the top to the title.
Oh gosh, yeah. Which one? The play-in, or not the play-in, but the in-season tournament?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What did did we have some collusion for the Lakers to be able to draft Connect?
There might have been. What was the? I mean, he was a later first-round draft pick, wasn't he?
I know. All those teams passed on him.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I wouldn't doubt it. All right, man. Well, listen, good to visit with you, and thanks for being on again. And, if by chance you leave the tailgate early and I'm conscious, maybe we'll look at doing a wrap-up. We'll see.
Fantastic.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too, buddy.
He's Jeremy Schroeder, ruler of the airways. I'm Chuck Ramsey, the Law Dog. This has been the Weekend Big Show. Be sure and tune in at your convenience on our SoundCloud, Spotify, Amazon Podcast, and Apple Podcast pages. You can also see this video on YouTube. Follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, X, and Instagram. And then you can find all the links to all of those at lawdogsports.com. And you can leave us a message throughout the week that we will read on the air. Be safe out there. Don't text and drive, and sure don't drink and drive. And we'll talk to you real soon.
They got the field zone. They got the field zone read package back in.
Got you back up now.
Okay.